Hello guys, and welcome back to our channel. So today we are going to be continuing with custom formatting. And please, if you have not yet subscribed, consider subscribing now, as in this channel I will be sharing tricks that I use in my analysis, and surely you will have something to gain from it. Thank you so much. Let's continue. So, talking about custom formatting, the first that we should look at is the hash symbol. So the hash symbols shows only meaningful digits. Okay, as we can see that this hash dot hash is formatting the 2.345 to 2.34 and 0.4 as 0. Then our 0 forces the 0 formatting will force 0 to appear. Okay, so if we have a 0 point hash format and this is the number that we have, it's going to allow 0 to appear in front and then 2 digits based on this hash behind. And then if it is a 003, 3 zeros in front, if we have 3 zeros in front and 2 zeros behind, it's going to force 2 zeros in front of the 5 so that we have 3 digits, and then add a 0 behind the 7 so that we have 2 digits here. So that's what we are going to demonstrate here. And as you can see, based on the explanation we gave here, if we are able to get it right, then this should be our result. So I'm going to hide this so that we demonstrate it. So you can either go to this ribbon and then select your general, then more number formats and custom, or you use the shortcut which is Control 1 and then select custom. Okay, so generally in this video I'll be using Control 1 so that it is faster for us. So the first thing I will do is to get our numbers. So I will get this, and then the first number that we have is this. So Control 1 and we select custom. Here where we have general, we clear it and then we add our hash. Okay, and then okay. We do same for this. Control 1, custom, clear the general, and then this case you are using 0 point hash. We do same for this. Control 1, custom, and then in this case we are using 0.000.00. Okay, we do same for this. 0.00, and that is it. So let's see if we got it correctly. Okay, so we actually got what we were expected to get here. The next thing that we should look at is when we're formatting with question mark. So for question mark, it shows significant digits and aligns our decimal points. So as you can see, this, for example, we have 2 question marks behind. Okay, and we do not have any decimal, we do not have any numbers behind any decimal here. So it will only add this decimal and then double spaces to indicate this question mark, such as we have here. Okay, so for example, if we are having a 0 point double question marks for 45, it's going to be same 45, and then a dot with the point for our question marks. But if we have 3 decimal points, if we have a number that is in its thousandth, for example, it's going to reduce it to its hundredth based on these two question marks. So let's see it in practice. We are going to hide this. Then under our demonstration, we get our values. Okay, so for the first one, we format it with 0 point double question marks. And then the second, we format it with same 0 point double question marks. And you can see what we have. If we check for what is required, we actually got what is required back. And the next thing is commas. So for commas, it adds 1,000 separator, okay, or it scales our number by 1,000. So an instance is when we have this hash and then hash 0.00. So it formats a number like this, adding a comma, okay, to ensure that we have 1,000. And then since we have a 0.00, it now adds the 0 in front. And then this 0 shows that it shows 56,789 as 57. Okay, so if we have a 0 with a comma, it eliminates the other stuffs that we have behind the comma if they are in thousand term. So let's demonstrate this. We have our expected value from the original value, but let us see it in practice. Okay, so we hide this first. After we hide this, we are now going to get our values. Okay, and then we now format using Control 1 and then custom. So what we have here is hash 0.00. Okay, then the next one is 0, comma, and the next one is hash 0.00. And then finally, we have 0, comma. Okay. So let's check. And here we have it exactly the way it should be. The next thing is percentages. So for percentages, it converts any number that we give to it as percent. It converts it to a percentage. So if we are having 0.1, for example, it's going to become 10%. Okay. And if we're having a 4.5, it's going to be 450%. So let's see what we have there. So we hide this, our number first. Then we demonstrate. So you can see that we have it in two forms here. We have the one that has 8.00, adding 2 decimals, and we have the one without 8.00. Let's see it in practice actually. So first thing that we do is to link these numbers. So after we link the numbers, we start with this first one, and then we check the custom 0%. Okay, we customize this as well, but this time it is 0.00%. 0%. Okay, so you can see we have two zeros behind it. Then we have 0.5. So we look add percentage to it. It will be 0%. So it gives us 50. And then this time we are adding a 0.00 behind as well. So it's 0.00%. And it gives us 50.00%. Okay, so let's see if that is what we were expected to get. Okay, you can say it. It's exactly what we were expected to get. And the next thing we should look at is our underscore. So our underscore adds space, okay, equal to the width of the character. So there's another thing that we need to note about this very underscore. If we're formatting with underscore and we have negative numbers, it's going to add those negative numbers in parentheses. Okay, but for the positive numbers, it's only going to add the paddings. So you can see how it padded this so as to ensure that it's got fitted. So let's see it in practice actually. So I hide this and then get these numbers. So this very column actually is in general. Okay, is in general. So it makes it easy for us to see the natural number before we format it. So I will start with this and then go to my custom. Then under my custom, I will now customize with the numbers required 0.00, then underscore, colon 0.00. This is semicolon actually, and equate it. And I'll do same for this. Underscore 0.00 underscore and semicolon 0.00, and here we have it. So you can see the negative number returns in parentheses, just as we stated. The next thing is our asterisk. So our asterisk, it repeats the following character, or so that we are able to fill the width of the cell. Okay, so in this case, if we have an asterisk x and then 0, the x before this 0 number will be increased to fill the whole width of the cell. So in demonstration, let's see, as we hide this, so equal to 45. So if I customize it and use a 0 point, an asterisk 0 hash, you can see it's used zeros to fill the whole of the cell. Let's do for the 7 as well, and you see it in practice. So it's gonna be asterisk 0 hash. Okay, so you can see it used this leading 0 immediately after the asterisk to fill the whole of the cell before the main number, the original number. Okay. So that's what we expected. And if we move it, it will adjust. If we increase it, it will still adjust to fill the whole cell. So that is what it's all about. Then the next thing is years. So formatting years involves either using a 2-digit Y, which will give us 2 digits per years, and or a 4 Ys. When we use 4 Ys, it is going to display 4 digits of year. For example, here we have our original value. Let's close this. Here we have our original value for our year. Okay. Now we want to format so that we have 2 digits for our year. So if we select this here and do our Control Y, go to custom and add double Y, it's going to return 25. And then let's see how we get 4 digits for our year. So we do our Control Y, custom, clear this, and then 4 Ys. So it returns 2025. That is what the year formatting is about. Then if we go to the months, depending on the format that we add, if we use an M format, it returns 1 digit for the month. If we use it returns 2 digits. If we use 3Ms, it returns the short form of the full digit. And then if we use 4Ms, it returns the month in full. And then for 5Ms, it returns just the initials. Okay. So let's see how this works in practice. In this case, we bring this in and then try for each of them. So for this, we do our Control 1, come to custom, and what we are using is just our M. Okay. So you can see M8 for August. Then we check for this as well. Okay. This also for August. And then which will return the short form of August in words. And then which will return the full form of August. And then the final one, 5Ms, will return just the initials. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and that is it. Then the next is to go to days. So for days, when we use just D, it returns one value, 1 digit, depending, except we've gotten to 10, then maybe it's returning the numbers in 2 digits. But from 1 to 9, it returns it in 1 digit. But for DD, it's going to return everything in 2 digits. So starting from 1, it will be returning it as 01, 202, and so on. Then for DDD, it returns the short form of the weekday name. And then DDDD will return the full form of the full day name, of the weekday name. Okay, so let's see it in practice. So we close this. Just so for this, it's going to be the D custom D. You can see. Then this is custom DD. This is custom DDD, I mean DDD, which return the short form, and then DDDD, which will return the full form of Wednesday. DDDD. All right. And that is it. You can see from here that it is what we expected from the beginning. And the next thing is to look at hours. So for hours, we return just H will return only one digit depending. Okay. So 1 hour will be 1, and hour 2 will be 2, hour 3 will be 3, and so on. Except when it gets to 10, it starts returning in 2 digits. But for HH, it keeps on returning in 2 digits from the start, even from hour 0. And then for the default, it returns in either PM or AM, now using 12-hour format and no longer the 24-hour format. So let's see it in practice here. So the first thing we do is to link. Okay. So we link this time, and then we format for our H hour. And the next is to format for HH. Even though it looks the same, but that's because there are 2 digits. If we add 1 digit, it's going to be different. And then here HH, AM, and PM is what will give us the number in now 12-hour format. Okay. So we format with HH space AM/PM. So you can see it's returning it as 3 PM. Okay. So that is for hours. Let's go to minutes. We can see what we expected here. Okay. So this exactly what we expected is what we got. So we can go to minutes and see what is obtainable. So for minutes, there's something that needs to be taken into consideration in order to avoid having errors as you try this very section for minutes. You have to add this H in front of the M, because if you use just M, Excel will take it to be month, and so it will be returning wrong values for you. So you just add this H in front so that it returns the hour and the minute for you, since the main thing that you're looking for is the minute. So let's demonstrate this. So if we use M, it's going to return our minutes in 1 digit. And if we use MM, it's going to return it in 2 digits. That's what we want to demonstrate. So we link this value and then control 1, custom, and HM. So you can see, and then if we use HMM, it's going to return 2 values for 2 digits for the minutes. So in this case, so the H that we are using here is just to ensure that we do not get errors, because if we use just M or MM, we are going to be receiving errors. Not that we receive errors, but the values that we will be receiving won't be reflecting the true value that we need, since it will be trying to get the month for us. So that is for this minute section. And let's go to the sheet that has to do with seconds. So for seconds, we can just easily use S or SS or S.00. Okay, so for the S, it will return 1 digit depending on the number. SS will always return 2 digits, and then SS.00 will return the hundredth of the second. So in this original number, you can see that the second that we have here is 9 seconds. Okay. And that is what we are supposed to have, but returned in different formats that we want it returned. So in this case now, if we link this our number here and try to demonstrate with it, then Control 1 to get the custom, and then under here we have S. It will return 9, 1 digit for us. And then for this custom, we use SS. It's going to return 09. And then for this, SS.00 returning includes 100 of the seconds. Okay. And it compares to the expected value. Now let's go to the elapsed time. So for elapsed time, we actually use parentheses to see the number of hours that we have used in a day. Okay, so it is the square parentheses that we always use, the square bracket, to demonstrate this. So for the number of hours that let me close this first, hide this, and then link. So the first is 3 p.m. So around 3:45 p.m., we want to see the number of hours that we've used up in the day, considering the fact that we started our day in 0 hours, okay? In the 0 hours, which is 12 midnight, we want to see how many hours have we consumed by 3:45 p.m. So what we do is just Control 1 here, and then come to custom and select square bracket H and So this returns 15:45. So we've used up 15 hours and 45 minutes that day. So let's check the amount of minutes and seconds that we've used up for that day. So we do custom, then select which is for our minutes, and then SS for seconds. So we used up 945 minutes that day. And then another one that we should demonstrate here is in the morning. This is 2:45 in the morning. How many hours have we used up? So that will be square bracket H and then for minutes. So we can see we used up 2 hours 45 minutes. And then let's take the number of minutes and seconds that we've used already that day from 12 midnight to 2 a.m. to give us SS. So we've used up 165 minutes 50 seconds that day. Okay, and that is it. Thank you so much for tuning in for today's very session. It has been a very long one, and if you've reached this point, I am very grateful for that. Thank you for following, and I hope you were able to learn something from this, and you will know how to apply this in your day-to-day tasks as you work with Excel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing, and please give this video a like if you really enjoyed it or if it was beneficial to you, so that others can see it and also make use of it. Thank you so much for your time, and do enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you in the next one.